Hello everybody, it's me, it's Kylie again, Enoch's mom, and I'm here to continue telling his story. Before I do, I want to say thank you. Thank you for listening, thank you for watching, thank you for sharing, thank you for every thought, thank you for every heart, thank you for every prayer. So around November 21, mid November 21, Enoch had to go to the hospital, had to go to the ER. We ended up getting sent back home for pain. He went in but had to go back home. Next day, went in, but we got discharged again, had to go back home. About a week went by, and we ended up getting admitted this time around. We stayed a couple of days, and they discharged us again. But when we left this time, he was limping. And I said, man, why is he limping? I want to turn back around, but I didn't. Brought him home, and I called the doctors and let them know about the limp. They said, okay, we'll watch it. Let's watch it for a few days, because he had an appointment scheduled for his follow-up. So they were trying to let him get to his follow-up, and we would assess it. They were going to assess it at that time. Well, he didn't make it to the follow-up. He ended up getting a fever, and we had to take him back in, and they admitted him this time. Okay, so while we were in the hospital, they x-rayed his hip. When they x-rayed the hip, the femurs were in the picture also. The tops of his thighs were in the hip picture, and they were hollow. They said he had osteonecrosis of the femurs at that time. And they couldn't even believe that he was walking unassisted. It's how bad it was. They were so scared that everybody that came in, everybody that came in the room that saw those pictures, doctors, they would look at me, and look at him like in shock. Like, I can't believe he's not hurting or able to walk the way his femur bones looked. Well, anyways, moving on. Ended up having to, they didn't know it was, they knew he had fluid on his hip. So they were going to have to do a hip tap in order to see, was it infected? Was the fluid infected? Because if the fluid was infected, that's a whole nother, whole nother ball game. Some weeks in the hospital for antibiotics and so on and so forth. It wasn't infected. The fluid was not infected, so we didn't have to stay as long as we thought. But he did have to start chronic blood transfusions at that time because of the osteonecrosis, to slow down the osteonecrosis. My worry at the time was, if his femur bones look like this, how does the rest of the bones in his body look? Because, I really wanted them to examine, every bone, because I didn't want him to get discharged and think he can go out. And Enoch was very active. He wanted to play football, basketball. He would push his body to the limit, and I just didn't want him to overdo anything that was going to cause more problems. So that was that, and I'm going to continue in another video, but thank you for listening, and here we go.